Two of the most common questions I get asked by new hydroponic gardeners are, how do I make adjustments to my nutrient solution? And how long should I wait between making adjustments? In this video, I'm going to do my best to answer both those questions for you. So this isn't going to be very sciencey, and what I'm about to show you will probably make commercial chemists cringe, but guess what? We're hobby growers and we get to do things the easy way. Let's get started. Question number one, how long do I need to wait between making adjustments? To answer that, we're going to do an experiment. I'm going to take a 2 and 5 gallon container. I'm going to add 10 milliliters of nutrients to the 2 gallon, and I'm going to add about 50 milliliters of nutrient to the 5 gallon. Then I'm going to do a little pH buffering just so that we can have some initial measurements. I'll get everything stirred up good. Then it's time to bust out the meter. Once I've got the meter fired up, I'm going to start taking some initial readings. Starting with the 2 gallon bucket, I'm going to take an EC reading, followed by a pH reading, and then I'm going to repeat the process in the 5 gallon bucket. So an electrical conductivity of 3.32. So we'll go with a pH of 6.15. So if you're wondering what the heck's going on, I'm writing down my initial measurements, then I'm going to wait 30 minutes and retake those measurements to see if they change as the nutrient solution settles. All right, as you can see, it's been a little over 30 minutes. So let's go ahead and test the levels in both these buckets and see how much they change over 30 minutes. So the first thing that we're looking at is the conductivity. And so after 30 minutes in the 2 gallon bucket, we have a conductivity that is still basically exactly the same. So 1578. We're at a pH reading of 6.39, 6.38, basically the same reading that we had 30 minutes ago. The initial EC reading was 3.32 millisiemens. We're at 3.22, so it was a decrease of about 100 microsiemens, which is fairly insignificant. Let's go ahead and check the pH. So our initial pH was 6.15, and after 30 minutes, we're still basically right at 6.15. So we're reading 6.16, 6.15. My takeaway is, in a small container, you can immediately make adjustments to pH and nutrient strength. But just make sure that you actually stir up the pH buffer or the nutrient really well in the bucket before you take the reading. Obviously, you don't want to do it while you can still see it floating around. Does that work in a larger reservoir? You know, it doesn't work in 100 gallon reservoirs or 1,000 gallon reservoirs, but let's see if it works in a 10 gallon reservoir. In this 14 gallon tote, I'm going to add the 2 gallon reservoir, the 5 gallon reservoir, and I have another 5 gallon bucket that's just straight up reverse osmosis water. We're going to pour them all in here together, make some adjustments, and wait 30 minutes, and then see if those readings shift as everything settles in this bigger reservoir. I almost filled it up too much. So we've got a reading of about 2.34 millisiemens. 5.99. As you can see, it's been a little over 30 minutes, so let's go ahead and take some readings and see how much those numbers have changed over the last 30 plus a few minutes. So after 30 minutes, we have a pH level of 5.98, which is a 0.01 difference from 30 minutes ago. So for conductivity, we're looking at about 2.14 millisiemens, which is a difference of approximately 200 microsiemens. So not really a big shift there either. I'm the kind of person, I'm always looking for patterns. During this experiment, I did notice a pattern, and you probably did too. For every 5 gallons of water, the EC dropped roughly 100 microsiemens over the 30-minute period. The 5 gallon bucket dropped 100 microsiemens, and the 10 gallon tank dropped 200 microsiemens. With that in mind, I'm going to guess that a 20 gallon tank could probably shift as much as 400 microsiemens over 30 minutes, but I can't really confirm that. All my 20-gallon tanks are currently in use, so I'll have to save that experiment for another day. Give me just a minute to drain this reservoir into some smaller buckets that I can actually pick up off this table, and then we'll get into how you can make those adjustments to your nutrient reservoirs. I feel like we can pretty much take instant measurements and make instant adjustments to our small hydroponic reservoirs. Now it's time to answer the second most common question that I get asked, and that's how do I make adjustments to my nutrient solution? And I'm going to show you just how easy it is. The first thing that you want to do is adjust your nutrient strength. Don't start using pH buffers until you have your nutrient strength dialed in. I cleaned out this bucket, filled it back up with reverse osmosis water, and I've got roughly, we'll say 2 gallons in here. So I'm going to make a weak nutrient solution to start out with, and then I'm going to show you how I would strengthen that solution, followed by how I would weaken the solution if I accidentally made it too strong. I'm only going to add about 3 milliliters of Florinova Grow to the water. Don't forget to shake this up. And this stuff is thick. It's like booger thick. Oop, I went a little too much. I got about almost 6, so I'm not going to use all of it. I'm going to use my calibrated eyeball to only deliver 3 milliliters of nutrient to the water. That's about right. One downside, you may not be able to see it. This stuff is so sticky, it sticks to the inside of the graduated cylinder, so you can't really see how much is left inside of it. Kind of a pain in the butt. So I'm going to go ahead and get my handy dandy paint stirrer. I'm going to go ahead and stir this up real good. I wish it was where you could see it. I should really have better camera skills than this. All right, cool. Now I feel like we can all see what's going on. So we're going to test conductivity first. And like I said, this is going to be a super weak solution. So 425 microsiemens. Let's bump that up. What do we want to go to? 1,200 microsiemens, or 1.2 millisiemens. Before I start adding more nutrient, the first thing I want to do is figure out what the electrical conductivity of my water is. Here I've got well water that I run through a reverse osmosis system, but it's still got an electrical conductivity of around 50 normally. Okay, so we're at 39.4. Good to know. Okay, so we know that 3 milliliters of nutrient in my 2 gallons of water had an electrical conductivity of 425 microsiemens. My water had an electrical conductivity of 39 microsiemens, which I'm going to subtract from the 425, so it gives me a better idea of how much the nutrient actually affected the electrical conductivity of the water. So that number ended up being 386. I'm going to round that up to 400 just so the math is easier. My goal strength for the solution is 1200 microsiemens. When I subtract 400 from 1200, I'm left with 800, which is double what we originally put into the bucket. All I need to do is just double this dose. So I'm going to add 6 more milliliters of nutrient to the bucket, and we'll see how close that gets us to 1200 microsiemens. All right, that looks like pretty close to 6 milliliters. We're looking at about 1,226 microsiemens, or 1.22 millisiemens. I'd say that was a pretty good guesstimate. Let's go ahead and check our pH. Remember, like I said earlier, you don't want to adjust your pH until you're done adjusting your nutrient strength. So right now this solution is a little bit acidic. It's got a pH of about 5.5. I would like to raise that up closer to 6.0. General Hydroponics normally recommends about 1 to 3 milliliters of their product per gallon of water to adjust your pH level. That amount varies based on nutrient strength and how pure your water is. With that in mind, let's go with about 1.5 milliliters per gallon for this test. That'll be 3 milliliters. Since that's a pretty small measurement, I'm actually going to use just a little pipette. So why am I using pH up? Because the pH of the solution is 5.5 and I want to move it up to 6.0. so I'll use pH up. You should probably wear gloves and glasses when you do this too. Safety first. So I was able, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, I was able to pull about 2.5 milliliters, so we'll go with that. I'll shoot it in there, stir stick. I ended up with a pH of 6.17. If I really want to move that back down, I can clean out my pipette and then I'll pull maybe a milliliter of pH down. Cool. So we are 6.02. That is definitely good enough for me. And that ended up being, I guess, a pretty good example of how to use pH up and pH down. Let's look at how we decrease the nutrient strength. This solution is 1.2 millisiemens or 1200 microsiemens. Let's say that you mix this solution intending to use it to start seedlings, and you wanted an EC of 0.6 millisiemens or 600 microsiemens. The easiest way to reduce your nutrient strength is to dump out some of this nutrient solution and replace it with clean water. Your nutrient strength is currently 2 times what you want it to be. So that makes it pretty easy in a 2-gallon bucket. The easiest thing to do is dump out half of this water and fill it back up with clean water. That should give you a nutrient strength that's roughly half of what it currently is. Let's give it a shot. Empty bucket. Nutrient solution. I'm going to try and use my calibrated arm to dump out half this bucket. Pretty close. That's good, I think. Now I need clean water. Luckily I have some right here. I hope it's enough. Perfect. Okay, now that we've got our fresh water added, let's go ahead and see what our electrical conductivity looks like. It looks like we dropped down to about 639 microsiemens, which is pretty close to our target of 600. The next thing that we would want to do is recheck the pH, and the pH still looks good, so we don't need to adjust it. So this solution is completely ready for your seedlings. This video went a little bit longer than I intended, but I hope that it provided some value and some reference for you in a couple different areas. Hopefully it answered your questions. If not, feel free to ask those questions in the comments, or if you think I could have done this a different way or a better way, tell me in the comments so that I can make better content for everybody. If this video was helpful or at least entertaining, hit the like button. If you like this kind of content, subscribe to my channel. And like I said, if you got questions, ask them in the comments. That's all I've got, so I'll see you next time.